Happy Sunday. How you doing today? Um, well, once again drinking Audi Fairtrade certified breakfast blend coffee, which tastes just like fresh brewed coffee from a pot, from a coffee pod. And I am not getting paid a penny for this promotion. I just want to steer you in the direction of good coffee. And we took a road trip to Montgomery just to get out of the house and get out of the quarantine. So, and I just want to show you some things I picked up on the way. So we stopped to get gas, and they had these for free. It's this National Trucking Magazine, and May 2020, May 2020, June 2020, and July 2020. So, if you're interested in becoming a trucker, this tells you. I mean, my goodness, $106,000 sign-on bonus. I picked the wrong career field. I'm telling you. I'm an accountant, and I should have become a trucker. My gosh. And this is. It's a lot of opportunity. And then Mandy Hayes, the editor, there's a little editorial column here. And lots of ads for trucking jobs. And right now, these guys are heroes. These guys are keeping our economy alive. And it's nice to show these because this is an acknowledgement of all of those guys in the middle of the night while many of us are sleeping who were keeping our stores stocked, who are getting our mail moved, who are taking care of business while the rest of us sleep. And I mean, you've got to give these guys credit for the work that they do keeping this country going. And everything you have was brought to you by a truck. If you live in America, everything that is on your table to eat, unless you grow it yourself or hunted it or whatever, it was brought by a truck. So, and there's a lot of stories in here too. This is Shatterproof. Funny. So it's about a female trucker, and it's just a kind of a profile of her. Her smile is magnetic, instantly reeling you in. Her eyes offer kindness and warmth as she extends a handshake, revealing a delicate touch of confidence and genuine respect. So, this is a nice profile of a female trucker. Because there are lots of girl truckers, and we always have this stereotype that it's always a guy, wearing the trucker's hat and everything, but there's a lot of ladies who are out there driving these trucks too. Trust and faith. Small company with huge benefits. Do you want to average 4,000 a week? Like I said, I picked the wrong career field. I should have become a trucker. There's a truck show in Dallas, Texas. And index of advertisers. So this is and I don't know how different these are. This is the June issue. and it has a little. I guess the different. I mean, for free magazine, you're still getting some reading in here. It's not just ads. There's an editor section, and then run as one, Scotty and Tara Carroll, professional drivers. So a married couple. So there's a profile. So there's like the editor's part, a profile, and then I think maybe like a special interest kind of section. Is it too late for me to change my career field? Yes. Scott Whitaker named TMC's Trainer of the Month. And another profile of another driver. When I was a little kid, I loved the movie Convoy, and I did want to become a truck driver when I was a kid because Convoy was a movie I saw when it was in the theaters, and I used to sing the song all the time. I thought it was just the greatest thing in the world. My parents would buy me toy trucks to play with, so, and then when we were if we were on a trip or something, I was always excited to see the trucks drive by. And then this is the July issue. $3,200 a week guaranteed. I guess I know that generally you're a member of a union. I don't know very much about this at all, so anyone feel free to comment if you know more. So I wonder how much of that if you have to pay, because that just seems like a really high salary. I mean, I could do this for a few years and retire if you could pocket all that money, but I just feel like you probably, some cases I think you have to buy your own truck maybe, and I know they don't come cheap, but I just don't know a lot about it, but it looks like the salaries are insanely high. I mean, that's like lawyer money. I imagine you might have to pay for insurance too, and that would probably run pretty high. And I guess it's a grueling job because I know a lot of these guys, they live on the road. They stop at a truck stop. They take a shower there. They sleep in their trucks. They have sleeper trucks. So there's probably a lot of grueling work involved in trying to stay awake and meet deadlines, and you might be penalized if you're late and so forth. It still seems like if that's your thing, if you like to drive, and right now, I mean, we've got to really appreciate the people who bring us our stuff. Whether it's just the food on your table or you, like today, Mary and I just wanted to get out and just walk around the store, and all the stuff that we were looking at was brought by truckers. COVID or no COVID, they're still rolling around. So it's just interesting. Free thing I picked up. I thought it looked cool, and it is cool. So this is National Truckers Magazine, 3 issues. If you see it, And if you're thinking about that career field, read about it. Maybe you'll get some inspiration. And like I said, this is a job that should be appreciated now more than ever. We should really take a moment to think about them. We went to a thrift store, and sometimes I like to look for books there because when I'm finished reading them, I often will just donate it right back to the thrift store. But sometimes I might, like, if I see a Far Side book, I'll probably hold on to this one. I love the Far Side. I'm not going to show you every page of it, but I do want to just, as in the 80s, this was a really, really popular cartoon. And I heard that he's making some kind of comeback right now. But this is always one of my favorite things. So I might have to keep this. I don't have very many Far Side books. And they're not as easy to find nowadays as they used to be. I'm sure I could go online and find them, but that's not... Where's the fun in that? So, anyway, Unnatural Selections is the name of this book. And I think I got for $1 but it was originally $7.95. And this was printed... Other books in the Far Side series, and he has Moby Dick and is like crossed out. Everything Gary Lawson did was a joke. This was printed in 1991, so this is fairly old. It's got old price tag sticker goo there I need to take off. So this is the crown jewel I found today in the thrift store. This may just look like a book about King Tut stuff, but what this actually is the book that was purchased during the most famous traveling exhibition of the whole decade of the 70s and for King Tut that created a national craze. And not only that, inside of this book is the original brochure. So I found this in the thrift store for $1, and somebody in 1978 went to see the treasures of Tutankhamun, bought the book, and kept this as a bookmark. And this is amazing. And I can't stress enough how much of a craze King Tut was in the 70s. If you watch Saturday Night Live with Steve Martin doing the King Tut skit, or all of the many Egyptian-centric movies about the curse of King Tut and the made-for-TV movies and so forth that came out around this time, is because of this craze. Because this was really the first time that the average person got a chance to see these treasures since the 1920s, when they were found by Howard Carter. So, Treasures of Tutankhamun, Los Angeles County Museum of Art, February 15th through June 15th. That was the dates it would be there, and it would move somewhere else. Made possible by grants from the National Endowment for Humanities and Exxon. And then it folds out to, this is 40 years old and it's in really good shape. It tells you a little bit about who King Tut was, the boy king. We were still endlessly wondering about him. All we know about him is he died very young. He may have had some deformities. When I was a kid, they made a lot of made-for-TV movies, or they had time travel episodes, and King Tut was always shown to be this good king, this good boy king who was nice and everything. But we know very little about him. Let's read a little bit. When Tutankhamun reigned as Pharaoh of Egypt from 1334 to 1325, so that's 9 years. That's not very long. The Great Pyramids and the Sphinx of Giza were already ancient monuments. Nearly 1,800 years before Tutankhamun was born, Egypt had become the first large state in history to be unified under a single king. They say that the time between Cleopatra and the pyramids is much longer than the time between now and Cleopatra. That's to put in perspective how old the pyramids are. Tutankhamun died at the age of 18 of causes still unknown. This early death apparently caught his court unprepared, for the very modest size and arrangement of his burial chambers suggests that his sepulcher was intended for some lesser dignitary and hastily converted to a royal tomb. Nevertheless, there is some reason to believe that Tutankhamun's burial was extraordinarily rich, and that some of the objects, like an elegant figure of the king's mummy, number 40, were actually donated by private citizens. Perhaps his magnificent burial with all of its gilt and gold was less a tribute to the youthful king than an expression of the community relief at the restoration of the old gods and traditions. And contrary to what a lot of people think, King Tut's tomb was not found inside of a pyramid or in a real ostentatious place. It was actually a chamber, like it was an unsealed chamber, not in a pyramid. We tend to think he was buried in a pyramid or something. The Valley of the Kings. If you play Assassin's Creed Origins, there's a great depiction of the Valley of the Kings in it. The Valley of the Kings lies just a few miles from the west bank of the Nile River. Originally, it was part of ancient Thebes, the capital from which the Egyptian Empire was ruled at the zenith of its power. When the pharaoh's rule ended, Egypt was dominated by the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Arabs, and the Ottoman Empire before it became a protectorate of Great Britain in the 19th century and achieved independence in 1922. And then Howard Carter, of course, found the tomb. Oh, that's my cat's flipping out. And there's a little plan of the tomb. Floor plan of Tutankhamun's tomb. The chambers were examined in the following order: antechamber, burial chamber, treasury, and annex. And then this is general information 40 years ago about the exhibition. Where you got your food, where to park, to check in your bags, handicapped access, first aid. Acoustic guides is what we call audio guides now. Shops, gift shops where this book was purchased. So this is really a cool find to find at a thrift store. So this is the book that you could get at the gift shop. And as you can see, these are places where the exhibition was going to be in America. The National Gallery of Art, Field Museum and Natural History, University of Chicago, New Orleans Museum of Art, Los Angeles, Seattle, and the Met in New York. And we start to see, this is a souvenir guidebook that would have great photographs of the sarcophagus, the original acquisition of it in the 20s. The 16 stairs leading down to the entrance of the tomb. There's that same diagram that we saw in the brochure. Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon breaking down the wall that blocked the entrance to the burial chamber. One of the large gilded shrines surrounding the sarcophagus can be seen in the background. Here's the newspaper, the Courier Journal, showing pictures of the things found. And then we have a part Tutankhamun and his world, talking about the Egypt that he lived in. Some artwork. The two daughters of Akhenaten and Nefertiti, depicted in a painting from Amarna, now in the Ashmolean Museum, with the informality and naturalism of the Amarna style. Their elongated skulls seem to have been a family trait. The portrait of Tutankhamun as a child in Gola Plate 1 shows the same characteristic. The back of a throne found in the tomb of Tutankhamun. It is covered with sheet gold, and the graceful figures of Tutankhamun and his queen are inlaid with colored glass and carnelian. Their clothes are made of silver. Above them shines the sun disk of the Aton, its rays ending in hands. Behind the queen is a table supporting a broad collar. The photograph above was taken during the unwrapping of Tutankhamun's mummy. Amulets and other funerary equipment made of gold can be seen with the iron-bladed daggers at the left. You know, I was in Greece, and we went to there was a Mycenaean tomb that they had opened, and I thought it was interesting that the swords that were found in it, I think they were made of bronze. They were all bent in half, so and then placed in with the burial, so no one could ever use the swords again. See the elongated skull and the distinctive Egyptian eye makeup that we presume the ancient Egyptians sported. This alabaster chalice, look at that. This chair. We see so much Egyptian stuff nowadays, whether we're in Pier 1 imports or wherever, that it's no longer special. But consider this, in 1978, all of this stuff was new. We'd only seen stuff like this in movies, maybe, or National Geographic. So you couldn't go to a store and buy a lot of Egyptian-themed stuff until later. I mean, by the end of the 70s you could, but this was all new and amazing, and that's why this exhibition was so popular. Now, back in the mid-'80s, in 1984, I went to Montreal, Canada, and Quebec, and they had an exhibition at that time, which was the Treasures of Ramses' Tomb, and that was pretty cool too. But it still wasn't as big a deal as this one was. This was definitely the one of the high points of the 70s. I mean, look at the chair with the inlaid gold. The alabaster, and consider this, when we see the pyramids today, we see the blocks, they're tan, there's lots of imperfections in them, but at the time, after they were built, they were coated in alabaster, so it would have reflected the sun, and they would have almost just been sparkling when you saw them, and there was gold at the top of each pyramid. So all of that was stripped off over the centuries to be used for building or whatever. The gold was stolen, but when they were at their height, the pyramids were coated in alabaster. This brilliant white shiny rock. Lapis lazuli, I believe, is the blue. One of the most famous things, the Mask of Tutankhamun. That's just really, really. We see it now so much. It's almost it's like the Mona Lisa and other things. It's just been seen so much, and as well as this eagle. Beautiful gold jewelry. These rings. Scarabs. An ankh, which is a symbol of life, associated with the mummification, which was at the time was a way to ensure eternal life, to maintain the constitution structure of the body so it could be functional in the afterlife. A boat, model of a boat. So much just beautiful gold figures like this. It's hard to even imagine just the riches that were put into this tomb. The other special thing about King Tut's tomb is it was, to my knowledge, it was when they opened it, it had been sealed for thousands of years. It had never been grave robbed like many other tombs had. So they found a treasure trove of items in the 20th century that were still intact. And spread of the sarcophagus, or I don't know if that is the one or if there's a smaller version of that too. That's really cool. The left paw of this line depicted on this alabaster uh, unguent vase rests on the hieroglyphic symbol for protection. When the vase was found, the crown was missing, having been rinsed off by ancient thieves. So, I guess there were grave robbers. The contents, some dried fatty substance, black in color, remained intact. That's another interesting thing, is they found foodstuffs inside of many of these tombs, and some of them were still edible, particularly the honey. The honey, if it were melted, could still be eaten. So it's possible that honey can last forever. Other things they found were grains. The fatty substance, there's no telling what that could have was. Maybe olive oil, or it could have been a soup, or there's no telling what it was. So this was actually a really cool find for me, to find not just this book but also the program from 1978, the 40-year-old program from one of the most famous exhibitions that's ever happened, and then the catalog of the items. Picture of the entrance passage. Wow. The antechamber. I would have loved to have seen this. Of course, I was pretty young in 1978. This was 1 year after Star Wars came out. So I think I was 4. I still would have appreciated it. Is that asp, or I think that's called an asp. amazing that baskets survived that long. And that is it. That's the souvenir from one of the most famous exhibitions in history. So I hope you enjoyed all of this, and click the bell icon if you want notifications when my videos come out, and I hope you've subscribed to my channel. Love having you, and thanks for visiting, and until next time, bye.